Hello everyone, hope you're all well. As you can see, I've had a nasty accident, came off my bicycle and split my head open, so I'll have a nasty scar for the rest of my life, but we move on as property investors. So today it's September the 18th 2024. I just wanted to talk to you about simple buy-to-let and how to get rich the slow way, or this is the sort of method that I've implemented. So over the years I've worked many jobs. My very last job, I was a mortgage underwriter and advisor for a private lending company, so they did secured loans. But before that I worked in loads of jobs, from sales to recruitment and then eventually to finance. And the way to do it is I've been a very keen saver. So every time that I got maybe a £2,000 to £3,000 paycheck, I would save at least £1,000 to maybe £1,500. If I had bonuses from sales, again I would save more. So if I had a £3,000 paycheck, I might save £1,500 or £2,000 that month. Luckily I didn't have children early, so I haven't had major expenses in my life. When I lived in England, I used to live in shared accommodation, which back in the day used to only cost me £200 to £300 for a room and bills included. So I was quite frugal with my money. But yeah, if you want to sort of get ahead in life and you want to get into property, this is the method. It's called buy to let. You save up the money. So if you've already got your own house, you save, usually you need about 28% of a house value. So let's say a house costs you 100,000, it would cost you 25,000 as the deposit. You've got 3% stamp duty, allow about up to 1,500 for legal fees, and then any other costs. So you might have to put in a new RCD or get an electrical certificate, which might cost you up to £500–600. You might also need a gas safety certificate, insurance, so you can allow an extra £1,000 to £2,000 minimum, just to get it to a rentable standard, painting, etc. But yeah, if you looked at a £100,000 property, for example, it might cost you £30,000. Likewise, for a £200,000 property, it could cost you around £60,000 or a bit less, because you're not paying double the legal fees, etc. Now over time this will give you a rental profit. So let's just say in Blackpool, where I am today, a property that's 100,000 might rent at about £700 a month. Now with that you would have a mortgage, so as a investor you'll get a standard or a simple buy-to-let mortgage on an interest-only basis. That might be either in your own name, or if you're a higher rate taxpayer already, you get a limited company. And then, so let's just say, for example, that might cost you roughly about £300 a month. You might have insurance of about £20. If you're employing an agent, they'll take 10% plus VAT for a first property. So again, another £70 to £80. And then after all the expenses, you'll be left anywhere between £250 and maximum £350. And that does still have to cover repairs or any emergencies. But generally, you know, you could add another 10% off that for repairs. Okay, you will have the odd boiler once a year. But generally it'll put £200 to £300 a month in your pocket. Over time that will increase, because you will apply rental increases. So in 5 years that might be, the £700 a month might be £800 or £850 a month, and then in 10 years it might be £1,000 or £1,100 a month. But again, it will just top you up, so it will give you £200 or £300 on top of your normal salary. And let's say you're only bringing home, I don't know, £2,000 a month, and you've still got your own bills and everything, and you can only normally save about £700 or £800. Once you get that extra property, that means that your saving rate should then go to about £1,000 a month. And over time, if you buy one and then another and then another, and you get to 2 or 3 properties, eventually that will top up your income, or it will add to your pension pot. Another factor is that the property will go up in value generally over time. So again, you do have to select the right area or the right type of property as well. You don't want really cheap properties, but in good areas they might go on average anywhere from 4 to 6% a year. So let's say a ballpark of 5%, £100,000 property over time will go to maybe 105,000, and then over 5 years it might be worth about 120. In 10 years there might be some periods where you get a higher rate of return, let's say maybe 10 or 15% or a bumper year, and you might have some downward years where there's no growth. But over a 10-year period, that £100,000 house might go to 140, £150,000, and with that you can either remortgage a property to pull out some of the money to put into new properties, or you can just keep it for a rainy day or when you're going to retire, and that adds to your overall wealth. Now you might say, what about if the tenants don't pay or if they trash your property? Now for me, I do get rental guarantee insurance just to cover the cost of the tenant not paying and also any legal costs involved. Now it is very hard to get insurance for a tenant trashing your property. There are insurers that will cover it, but they tend to not pay the full amount. It's hard to prove. So generally it comes down to good quality tenant selection. An agent or an experienced agent can do this for you. Again, there are going to be changes as well with the new Labour getting in the UK, but as investors there's always going to be change in the market, so you have to roll with the punches. Sometimes you will have to invest some of your own funds, especially if there's a major problem like a new roof or a new boiler, but over time you will get it back, and then some, and you might even have bumper properties or bumper areas where the value of your property goes up more than the market in that time. So over time, if you just get 1, 2 or 3 extra properties along with your own property and your own savings, it will add to your overall wealth, and hopefully by the time you're close to retirement, if you're currently investing at a younger age, let's say between 20 and 40, you will slowly get rich from this strategy, especially if you build up to a portfolio of 5 or more properties. You're not going to be a multi-millionaire, but it will give you the freedom of time and also put more money in your pocket to do other investments. So once you have extra cash from the properties, you can either invest it into more property or stocks or funds. You can open a Vanguard account and put it into funds, and generally just grow your wealth over time. So that's my advice on simple buy-to-let. How I've done it, again, I've just saved up slowly, bought one property, then slowly again bought another property, and then I've been in property for 10 years now, so over time it has slowly accumulated to the point that now the properties have went exponentially up in value, so I can pull out money from them and put them into new properties. And also because I have so many properties, all the rents combined, every 6 months or so I could probably buy a new property just from the rents. So it does accumulate, it does take a lot of hard work, it's not a get rich scheme, but if you just want a very simple strategy of starting with 1 property and then 2 and then 3, you can do this over maybe a 5-year period where you get to 3 or 4 properties, and at a relatively slower pace, but you will get there and it won't stress you out. Now there are people in the market that do it much faster, but generally they have to have higher leverage or get external investors, and if you've already got a workload or a family, it's not as easy as they make out in other YouTube videos. So this is my advice. If you do have any comments, feel free to just leave them below, and I hope this helps. Thank you.